Why don't we start our meeting with a big round of applause? Welcome to the Global Korea Forum 2022. We've just kickstarted the meeting with a video clip. So let's commence the meeting in earnest. Distinguished participants from home and abroad, and also our online viewers as well, thank you very much for your participation. I wholeheartedly welcome you all. Let me introduce myself. I'm the Master of Ceremony for the event. I am Yeomyoung. It's a pleasure to meet you all today. The Global Korea Forum 2022 welcomes all of you. Challenge for future, companion for all. The Global Korea Forum has been organized to look at our situation in view of the current era defined by a multitude of complex crises, to delve into Korea's role and responsibility as a global pivotal state in the international community, as well as its international development cooperation, in presence of public and private sectors, as well as ambassadors from 10 ASEAN member states and international organizations, as well as other related international cooperation bodies. We had the online forum starting yesterday, and this forum is going to be held for 3 days until 25th November in COEX. And before we kickstart our meeting, we're going to have a pledge of allegiance to the nation. Please all rise and face the national flag in front of you.
국기에 대하여 경례.
Salute to the flag.
나는 자랑스러운 태극기 앞에 자유롭고 정의로운 대한민국의 무궁한 영광을 위하여 충성을 다할 것을 굳게 다짐합니다. 바로 시간 관계상 애국가 제창을
In the interest of time, we will skip the national anthem. Please be seated.
네, 다음은 오늘 이 포럼의 개회식에 참석해
To
주기 위해서
celebrate this opening ceremony for the event, we have the honor of distinguished participants from home. We're going to have some time to recognize each and every one of them. When their names are called, please give them a big round of applause to welcome them and to show your appreciation. First, Mr. Chung Hae-gu, Chairperson of the National Research Council for Economics, Humanities and Social Studies. Welcome, Chairperson Chung. Next, President Kim Hung-jong of the Korea Institute for International Economic Policy. Thank you very much, President Kim. Next, Han Kyung-pil, Deputy Minister for International Development Cooperation. Welcome. Is from the Office of Government Policy Cooperation. Next, Kim Sung-gyu, President of KIEP, Korea Association of International Development Cooperation. Next, Sung-bong Lee, President of EU SA Korea, is here. Lee Seung-ju, Vice President of the Korea Association of International Studies. Thank you for being here today.
또한 이태수 한국보건사회
Mr. Lee Tae-soo, President of the Korea Institute for Health and Social Affairs. Thank you very much.
또 문유경
Next, President
원장님께서도
Moon Yu-kyung of the Korea Women's Development Institute. Thank you very much.
네, 감사합니다. 지금
Thank you.
바삐 오고 계시다고 합니다.
Actually, she's on her way, so when she arrives, I will take time to introduce her to you again. Now we have Mr. Yoo Jong-il, President of the KDI School of Public Policy and Management. Next, Park Sang-hee, President of the Korea Institute of Child Care and Education. Thank you. Welcome. And Kim Lee-gyo,
원장님께서도 함께 해 주셨습니다.
Head of the NRC. Thank you very much.
계속해서 최재영 국무조정
Choi Jae-young, Director General of International Development Cooperation from the Office of Government Policy Cooperation. Thank you very much. And Mr. Cho Byung-duk, Director General for Research Support from NRC. Thank you very much for being here today. Last but not least, we have Mr. Kwak Sung-il, who's the Director of Economic and Security Strategy Department at NRC. Thank you. Thank you all.
이 외에도 많은 기관에서
And we have a representation of many other organizations as well. And thank you very much for your presence today. And also we have online participants as well who are greatly appreciated for their presence. And I'm sorry I won't be able to introduce each and every one of you due to time constraints. And thank you for your kind understanding. Now we're going to invite our opening speaker, President Chung Hae-gu of National Research Council for Economics, Humanities, and Social Studies. Please welcome Mr. President with a big, big round of applause.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. As has been introduced, I am Chung Hae-gu, Chairperson of NRC. I would like to express my gratitude to all the distinguished participants from home and abroad who are attending the 2022 Global Korea Forum, which is held for 3 days since yesterday. We have many distinguished guests who have graced us with their presence. First of all, Minister Bang Moon-gyu of the Office for Government Policy Coordination, lawmaker Baek Hae-ryun, Chairperson of the National Policy Committee, will deliver congratulatory messages. We also have President Kim Sung-gyu of the Korea Association of International Development and Cooperation, President Lee Sung-bong of EU Studies Association, and Vice President Lee Seung-ju of the Korea Association of International Studies. This year's forum has been organized by KIEP, and President Kim Hong-jong of KIEP will also deliver his welcome remarks. I would like to thank them all for their contribution. Many institutions and academic societies have helped us prepare for the forum. First of all, KOICA, KDI School of Public Policy and Management, Arirang, LH, KOTRA, and K-Water have provided support during the planning stage of the Global Korea Forum 2022. Next, the Korea Association of International Development and Cooperation, EU Studies Association, Korea Association of International Studies have helped us organize individual sessions and regional conferences sessions. For thematic sessions, research institutes including KIEP, KIET, Korea Women's Development Institute, KDI School of Public Policy and Management, and Korean Institute of Childcare and Education, as well as LH, K-Water, Korea Public Management Research Institute, and Korea Institute of Intellectual Property have supported the forum. For roundtable and special sessions, the ambassadors of 10 ASEAN member states and international development organizations have participated. In addition, this year's Global Korea Forum includes special events organized by the Office for Government Policy Coordination to commemorate the Week of Development Cooperation. I would like to express my sincere gratitude to all of the members of these institutions and organizations. Global Korea Forum was launched in June 2019 to share international development experiences among government agencies and public institutions. Based on this initial effort, the Global Korea Fair was held in December 2020 and in November 2021. And this year, we're holding 2022 Global Korea Forum under the theme of International and Development Cooperation for Freedom, Peace, and Prosperity with the slogan of Challenge for the Future, Companion for All. After going through the Japanese colonial rule, liberation, division, and a war, Korea achieved remarkable growth to emerge as a newly advanced economy. Now, we need to play a role that befits the status in the global community and take more responsibility as a responsible member of the international community. Against this backdrop, the Yoon government announced as its fifth policy goal to become a global pivotal state that contributes to freedom, peace, and prosperity. It aims to play a pivotal role on the global stage to influence other countries based on strong national defense capabilities and diplomatic strategies focused on national interests and pragmatic approaches. Therefore, I believe that our international and development cooperation need to contribute to freedom, peace, and prosperity of the whole world. However, we're now faced with multiple challenges. The world is going through great transformation and change in international order, including deglobalization. In the era of global great transformation, we need to succeed in post-COVID digital transformation as part of the fourth industrial revolution and achieve green transition to overcome the climate crisis. In addition, deglobalization and changing global order have been triggered by competition between the US and China and the Russia-Ukraine war, and a new world order is emerging. In this rapidly changing global landscape, Korea's international and development cooperation as a global pivotal state must be based on challenge for the future and companion for all, as our slogan suggests. Here, challenge for the future means that we will tackle some of the key challenges of our times and explore ways to build a better future. And companion for all means that we aim to overcome confrontations, conflicts, and inequalities and promote a truly united global community. In short, we want to conduct international exchanges and development cooperation as a global pivotal state from the perspective of challenging for a better future and companion for all. The temperature is falling and we will soon have a winter, and we hope that the COVID-19 will come to an end very soon. But I hope that you will continue to stay healthy. Once again, I'd like to thank you all for participating in the 2022 Global Korea Forum. I wish you the very best. Thank you.
네, 감사드립니다.
Thank you very much, Chairperson Chung Hae-gu from the National Research Council for Economics, Humanities, and Social Studies. He now opened officially the Global Korea Forum 2022. Thank you very much for your strong support. And he also appreciated all the efforts made by other organizations. And he also emphasized that this forum should become an opportunity to have discussion on international development cooperation of Korea. Next, we're going to hear welcome remarks from President Kim Hung-jong of KIEP, which is an organizer of this event. Please welcome President Kim with a big round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I'm President of the Korea Institute for International Economic Policy, Kim Hung-jong. Co-hosted by the National Research Council and the KIEP, the Global Korea Forum 2022 welcomes all of you sincerely. We thank you for your participation. The world today is faced with increasing uncertainty and confrontation between countries, giving birth to a global transformation. With so much uncertainties growing in COVID-19, Russia-Ukraine war, as well as inflation, and also looming economic recession are triggering a multitude of complex crises around the world. And also countries in Asia and Africa, the developing countries have been hit hard by rising food and energy prices. And since the onset of the pandemic, a poverty rate was reversed to the pre-2016 level. And also the population at risk of food crisis has grown by more than 200 million since 2019. So these challenges are threatening to derail international efforts from achieving SDGs by 2030. With a rapid rise in domestic energy prices, economic activities in developing countries have slowed down dramatically, and with a sense of insecurity mounting amongst the citizens, we're seeing occurrence of large-scale protests. And also in Afghanistan and Ukraine, among others, conflicts broke out, and the world is now evolving into a place of tension and confrontation rather than a place of peace and prosperity on the basis of democratic values. Against this backdrop, climate change is prompting yet another form of an economic crisis. Across the world, droughts and floods are occurring concurrently, raising climate uncertainty all the more, and the rise of sea level is spilling over into losses for island states. Global efforts for climate adaptation are called for, but even they seem to be found nowhere in the collapse of a multilateral order. U.S.-China conflict and Russia-Ukraine war have aggravated global polarization, bringing down with it the principle of multilateralism and development cooperation. Against this backdrop, as a global pivotal state, Korea needs to take on a more prominent role. We have achieved a remarkable growth to become one of the G10 economies, with our ODA contribution surpassing 4 trillion won this year. In addition, the Korean government, with a view to strategically carrying out its ODA that befits its national prestige, formulated the third master plan, thereby unveiling a plan to advance its ODA contributions for realizing global values. Korea, as a country that has safeguarded peace, freedom, and prosperity, grew into a model country for the international community. Ladies and gentlemen, the world is now confronted with the ongoing pandemic, climate change, conflict, and other global challenges. Moreover, as the economic crisis deepened a push towards nationalism, the international community has come to have higher expectations on our country. And to overcome the complex global crises and forge ahead with a development cooperation strategy aligned with our global standing, Korea's ODA must be improved qualitatively and innovated, with public support and private participation widening further. And also, Korea must emerge as a reliable country that fulfills its due role and responsibility as a member of the international community, and deepen its engagement and step up its cooperation with donors as well as international organizations, as doing so would be meeting our mandate. In this vein, the Global Korea Forum 2022 that opens today will gather governments, public institutions, as well as private sector among some 20 participating organizations to discuss the role of Korea in the area of development cooperation to enable Korea's rise as a global pivotal state. This aim in and of itself is very meaningful, and I hope today's forum serves as an opportunity to advance peace, freedom, and prosperity. It will also be an occasion where we can publicize Korea's development cooperation programs and identify ways to address a multitude of crises confronting developing countries in collaboration with the government as well as the private sector. This is an era of loss and distrust. We have to adhere to the universal values of the world. However, we're seeing distrust mounting. Looking back on our history, such crisis was actually turned into an opportunity for advancing our freedom, peace, and prosperity, and other universal values such as human rights. So this is high time that we look at where we are and learning the lessons of the past. We have to understand that this time that we're in is quite different. We need to fully adhere to the good values that we were able to adhere to and safeguard. And based on that memory, I believe that we'll be able to find a way forward to escape from the current global complex crises and examine our progress in development cooperation. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to work to find a way out of the current global crises and check on our progress in development cooperation. And I hope we will all have a very meaningful and productive time here. Thank you very much for your presence and participation once again. Thank you.
네, 감사드립니다.
Thank you very much, President Kim Hong-jong of KIEP, which is an organizing institution of the Global Korea Forum. Thank you for your kind words. He mentioned that the international community is faced with multiple global crises, and there is a growing expectation for Korea to play its due part. So there are many immense challenges ahead of us, and I hope that we will discuss ways to address these challenges, as he mentioned in his remarks.
귀한 이 시간을 저희가 사진으로 남기지
We would now like to go ahead and have a group photo session to commemorate this very meaningful event. I am going to invite the designated VIPs to come to the stage to join us for the group photo. Chairperson Chung Hae-gu of NRC, President Kim Eung-jong of KIEP,
한경필 국무조정실 개발협력
as well as Deputy Minister Han Kyung-pil,
네, 이성봉 회장님,
and President Kim Sung-gyu, President Lee Sung-bong, Vice President Lee Seung-ju,
김이교 단장님, 최재형
President Yoo Jong-il, and President Park Sang-hee, Head Kim Hee-kyo, Director General Jo Byung-deok,
잘못 소개를 드려서
and I would like to make one correction
네, 경제 안보 전략
that we have with us
위로
Director for Economic and Security Strategy Department, Kwak Sung-il. So please join us on the stage for the commemorative photo.
포럼입니다.
So this is the third Global Korea Forum, and it is serving as a platform to facilitate global cooperation. Please take a look at the camera.
착용하시고
We are going to take a photo with the masks on.
네, 앞에 정면에 카메라를 봐주시기 바랍니다.
There are cameras in front of you, so please face the camera.
귀한 논의의 장에 모두들 모시고
We would like to celebrate this Global Korea Forum. We are now going to take a photo without the masks
미소와 함께
so that we can see your big smiles.
두고자 합니다. 네, 준비가 되시는 대로 정면에 있는 카메라를 향해 밝게
So
웃어주시면
please take a look at the camera and show us your big smile.
네, 올해 세 번째로 열리는 글로벌 코리아 포럼 네, 감사합니다.
Thank you very much.
네, 이렇게 내빈분들의 사진 촬영
So this has been our group photo. I would like to ask these distinguished participants to return to their seats.
네, 제2회 글로벌 코리아
Thank you.
포럼 2022 함께
We're having the 2022 Global Korea Forum.
오늘 이 귀한 자리를 우리가 함께 나누면서
It is very meaningful that we have a large gathering. Next, we're going to listen to congratulatory messages. We have a special message from Minister Bang Moon-gyu. Due to other official engagement, he was not able to be here, but he sent us his message in writing. And now, Han Kyung-pil, Deputy Minister for International Development Cooperation at the Office for Government Policy and Coordination, will read his message. So please welcome him with a big round of applause. Thank you very much.
예, 축사를
Let me read Minister Bang Moon-gyu's message. Fellow Koreans, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to congratulate you on the opening of the 2022 Global Korea Forum. Marking its third anniversary, the Global Korea Forum plays a key role as a platform to promote international exchanges and cooperation by sharing value and outcomes of Korea's international cooperation and presenting ways forward. I would like to thank Chairperson Chung Hae-gu of NRC, President Kim Hong-jong of KIEP,
그리고 세션에 참석해
and
주신 기관 관계자와
members of the participating institutions, as well as staff members of the organizing institutions for their participation. Ladies and gentlemen, the world is faced with unprecedented challenges.
코로나19 위기와
COVID-19 and climate change are impacting all of us, but their impact on developing countries is disproportionately greater. Furthermore, ongoing competition between the US and China and the Russia-Ukraine war are fundamentally disrupting some of the key values of freedom, solidarity, cooperation, and exchanges that have supported the international society. As the global complex crises are deepening, the need for international development cooperation is ever more increasing to realize global values. Against this backdrop, the Korean government announced its vision to become a global pivotal state to contribute to addressing global challenges as a responsible member of the international community. To this end, we have developed a roadmap for international and development cooperation of the new government. First, Korea is providing ODA that befits its global prestige and status. We will continue to expand the size of ODA to fulfill its global responsibility given its economic outstanding and promote development cooperation based on universal values of human rights and peace to become the world's 10th largest donor country. Second, we are implementing strategic ODA programs. We will strengthen connection between ODA and foreign policies to maximize the outcome of diplomacy. We will provide meaningful and substantial assistance to partner countries based on our own development experience, which can be labeled as KODA. Third, we will create an ODA ecosystem with a virtual cycle. We will support Korean companies expand into domestic and foreign ODA procurement markets, develop ODA professionals, and strengthen partnership with civil society. Finally, we will strengthen quality and practicality of ODA projects and implement a systematic and integrated ODA performance management for quality assurance. Ladies and gentlemen, I am confident that the Global Korea Forum will provide an important guide in terms of Korea's ODA policies for the future. In particular, today and tomorrow, a total of 16 sessions will be held under the theme of International and Development Cooperation for Freedom, Peace, and Prosperity. They will result in meaningful discussions on how we need to carry out ODA in the future. I look forward to your insights and suggestions to take Korea's ODA to the next level. Once again, I would like to express my gratitude to all of you for your participation and your contribution. Thank you.
네, 감사합니다.
Thank you very much.
국무조정실장님을 대신해서
So on behalf of the Minister Pang, we had Deputy Minister Han Kyung-pil of International Development Cooperation to read the congratulatory message. So he introduced the government's ODA policies and also the implementation of the policy that the Global Korea Forum is expected to serve as a very important guidepost for those efforts. So thank you very much. Once again, we're going to hear another congratulatory message. Baek Hae-ryun, who's the chairperson of the National Policy Committee of the National Assembly. We have a special video clip that has been prepared for this event. Hello, I am chairperson of the National Policy Committee at the National Assembly, Baek Hae-ryun. I offer my sincerest congratulations to the opening of the Global Korea Forum 2022. I would like to extend my gratitude to the host of the meeting, Mr. Chung Hae-guk, chairperson of the National Research Council for Economics, Humanities, and Social Studies, as well as Mr. Kim Hung-jong, president of the Korea Institute for International Economic Policy, as well as other related organizations and experts. As national borders are blurring, a crisis in one country quickly translates into a crisis of the entire world. COVID-19, the Russian-Ukraine war, economic crisis, climate change, and move towards carbon neutrality are all presenting a multitude of complex crises. People to people and country to country, partnerships have become all the more important than ever. Korea, once an aid recipient country, has transformed itself into an aid donor country with $2.8 billion in ODA contributions as of 2021, becoming the 15th largest donor in terms of ODA commitments among the members of the OECD DAC. Korea also experienced the past colonial rule, war, and other humanitarian crises, a country that has successfully emerged stronger from these crises. Now it is high time for Korea to assume an even greater sense of responsibility for the global community, a time to give back to the global community. In addressing global issues and challenges, Korea must demonstrate leadership and commitment to action that befits its national prestige. In this vein, the GKF 2022 that aims to facilitate discussion on progress and strategy for international development cooperation is all the more meaningful. This forum will enable us to learn about various experiences and endeavors from around the world, and on that note, I would like to thank you all for making this event possible. Your deep interest is indeed greatly appreciated. I hope that GKF will serve as an important stepping stone for international development cooperation towards making this world a better place for all. Thank you.
감사합니다. 박수 부탁드립니다.
Thank you very much. A warm round of applause. That was a special message by Chairperson Baek Hye-ryun of the National Policy Committee at the National Assembly. She mentioned that we are faced with multiple challenges around the world, but if we work together and join forces, we can address these challenges. And that was the key message of Chairperson Baek Hye-ryun's video. Now we're going to invite 3 speakers for their special messages. As you may know, this year's Global Korea Forum is participated by experts in the areas of international cooperation and development cooperation in order to deepen our discussions on this topic. So here with us, we have 3 speakers who are going to deliver special messages to commemorate the Global Korea Forum 2022. We have leaders of the Korea Association of International Development and Cooperation. First, I'd like to invite President Kim Sung-gyu from the Korea Association of International Development and Cooperation for his special message. Please welcome him with a big hand. Thank you.
예, 안녕하십니까?
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. As has been introduced, I am Kim Sung-gyu, President of the Korea Association of International Development and Cooperation. Thank you for inviting me to this 2022 Global Korea Forum, and I'd like to extend my congratulations. I was asked to deliver a commemorative message. So in my remarks, I would like to make a couple of points to offer some guidance for the new government's ODA and international cooperation activities. Because I am a researcher, I would like to share my views in honest. There are 3 points. First of all, I'd like to mention that our ODA environment is changing. Secondly, as a result of such changing context, we need to change the nature and the characteristics of our development cooperation. And the third point is about a future direction of Korea's development cooperation. Let me first elaborate on how the development cooperation related environment is changing. For the past 2 years, to begin with, the COVID-19 has hit the world. And this global pandemic has worsened global inequalities, income inequalities, and other types of inequalities. Then, who was most hit by the COVID-19 pandemic? Women, children, and poor communities have been hit harder by the COVID-19 pandemic, and their economic and social disruptions were larger than in other groups. In this pandemic, we have to address the needs of the vulnerable and the underprivileged. In addition, the pandemic has limited ODA workers' access to those in need. And because of the lockdown and other measures, ODA activities were suspended, or we were not able to meet in person to provide assistance. And in some areas, mobility was extremely restricted. And this has been an unprecedented situation where we could not necessarily worry about poor communities around the world, but we were so preoccupied with addressing our own immediate needs because of the pandemic. So we had no room or ability to look around to help those in need. And there was extreme nationalism in terms of vaccine supply. So we cannot be free from such criticism. So when you listen to the voices of some civil society organizations, you can see that many of the leading countries around the world have not fulfilled their responsibility during the COVID-19 pandemic. Then how should we respond to development cooperation needs? We may need to apply different methods. Our environment is changing, the context is changing, so we need to develop new ways to provide development assistance. And I believe that this is what we need to do. There are immediate challenges, and we need to apply a more inclusive and more integrated approach. So this has been under discussion. Recently, we say that ODA programs need to be designed in a way to address the needs of the partner countries by collaborating with many stakeholders, including private companies and civil society, as well as public agencies. And in addition, we need to have a more integrated and comprehensive approach to ODA. We need to take into account cross-cutting issues such as gender and health. So this means that such new aspects need to be incorporated in more of a traditional ODA programs. And this once again implies that we need to take a more integrative approach. For instance, health and infrastructure projects are not separate. In order to improve healthcare services, you may also need to build a road to increase access. And we also need to develop more sophisticated performance measurement programs. And such efforts are now underway, but a new or an integrated approach to ODA is not something new. In the past, it has been argued that integrative approach is needed, and efforts for that have been made. And if we apply an integrated approach, we can make our ODA more sustainable. This means that humanitarian aid can be combined with traditional ODA, and we can combine that with the concept of peace. So in doing so, we can pursue all these goals at the same time. In Korea, we have a challenge of building a more integrative approach. Several years ago, our ODA size was only 1.6 trillion won, but our ODA size is going to be exceeding 6 trillion won by 2023. So this means that our size, our volume of ODA has grown, and there was a revision of the Basic Act on ODA, and the Korean government has made some progress in improving our ODA paradigm, and in 2020, a legal revision allowed us to apply more integrative approach. The Office for Government Policy and Coordination was created under the Prime Minister's office, and we have this control tower, and there's an effort to increase the role and responsibility of government agencies in charge. Nevertheless, despite these efforts, as for grants, there are more than 40 central and local government agencies that have been pursuing grant programs. There's a lot of overlap, and there's also a problem of fragmentation in providing aid and grant programs. And finally, I would like to offer some guide as to a future direction of the new government's ODA. First of all, as I mentioned, we need to have an integrative approach to ODA, and in what direction do we need to go? We enacted a Basic Act on Development Cooperation several years ago, which was completely revised in 2020, and we need a more efficient and integrative and systematic framework for development assistance. And this is something that all the stakeholders need to devise together. And secondly, we need to build a partnership. So partnerships for effective development cooperation. The government, the civil society, the academia, and the private sector can join forces. And there will be a legal and regulatory framework that supports such a framework. And third, The current government is focusing on creating packages for development assistance by combining some of the related ODA programs so that you can increase the size and extent of ODA programs. When you look at the data, you can see that more than 60% of the ODA programs are less than, and their budget is less than 1 billion won. So we need to select and focus on some of the key areas. And in doing so, we can focus on digital transformation and the increasing role of civil society. The government is pursuing digital transformation and utilizing technology solutions. And when we select a few key areas, we can increase the size of ODA programs and we can apply digital solutions. And finally, I'd like to talk about the importance of branding. As was mentioned by Minister Bang Mong-kyu, we can brand Korean ODA. So by focusing on some of the areas that we are good at, Northern Europe and Japan, they have their images in their ODA programs. Korea has achieved democratization and economic development at the same time, so we have this wonderful track record. And based on our own successful experience, we can develop a brand, a Korean-style ODA. Once again, I'd like to extend my congratulations. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. That was President of KIEP for the warm message for celebrating this event. We understand that there's a shifting environment in development cooperation. There are many tasks at hand, and we need to understand which development tasks or project that we have to focus on, given the constraints and resources. Now we're going to hear one more presentation from Mr. Lee Sung-bong, who is the president of the USA Korea European Studies Association Korea. Please welcome President Lee with a big round of applause.
예, 반갑습니다. 방금
It's a pleasure to meet you. As was introduced, I am Sung-bong Lee. I'm president of USA Korea. Going to make my remarks quite brief. First of all, I would like to thank you very much for the kind invitation to the Global Korea Forum, and also for putting in place a separate session for our organization. It's a great honor for me to be part of this very important forum. On that note, I'd like to thank Chairperson Chung Hae-gu of NRC and also President Kim Hung-jung of KIEP for your warm invitation.
한국과의 관계는
So looking at the relations between the European Union and Korea, I think the bonds are running very deep, more so than one might expect. Korea is the only Asian country in terms of political and economic and security cooperation, has an important framework agreement with the European Union. That's the only country in Asia. In 2010, for example, Korea signed a framework agreement, and actually this was upgraded in 2010 with EU, and at the same time, Korea-EU FTA was also signed. And in 2015, a crisis management agreement, which is an agreement that is aiming to promote cooperation in dealing with international security challenges, that was also agreed between the two sides. So in terms of the international development cooperation, I think our relations is very important, and we can really play an important role in dealing with these challenges because we have the right framework in place. So the topic that we have prepared for our session is value-based international cooperation and development, and also to seek a path forward for strengthening our international development cooperation. Against this backdrop, I would like to share some of the initial ideas that we have. So what do we mean by value-based cooperation or international development cooperation? One of the approaches that can achieve this goal is to tap into various development cooperation projects that are undertaken by the EU as well as that are being implemented by Korea. They're very much focused on creating social infrastructures and serving the social cause and agenda, for example, education and so forth.
그런데 이 부분들에 있어서 사실은 그
And in many of these areas,
우리 개발 협력에 있어서 그 성과를 올릴 수 있는 가장 핵심적인 내용은
what we need to do to improve the performance in relation to development cooperation
그
is to
역량과
improve capacity of the host country organizations
이런 것들이 사실
and also to enhance the operational guidelines and the procedures of the host country.
이런 부분들이 구체적인 그 기관에 녹아져 있는 그런 노력들이 필요한데
So we need to have the strong capacity of the relevant organizations in those local communities, but this is a capacity that is lacking in many of the host countries. And since the EU and Korea have very similar projects along this line,
평가하는
so we need to actually go beyond just assessing and evaluating the performance of each separate project,
뒷받침할 수 있는
but we have to actually do a more integrated project, and we have to conduct the research and discussion together to bring about improvements and changes in the political and economic environment of these local countries,
체계를 그들과 함께
so that we can share our democratic values
좋은 그런 그
with these countries,
나아갈 수 있도록 저희가
so that we can actually steer them towards
이런 부분에
further advancement of their values.
그 함께 이유하고 적극적으로 협력할 수 있는 그런 좋은 계기가 될 수 있는 오늘의 포럼이
I believe that the forum could serve as a very important opportunity for promoting such cooperation between Korea and the EU.
하도록 하겠습니다.
And I wish you all the success. Thank you very much.
네, 감사드립니다. 한국
Thank you very much. That was President Sung Bong Lee of USA Korea. Thank you for your warm message. That our two sides have very close relations and ties, and through which a new direction for future could be defined, and also shared some brief ideas from the organization. Thank you.
Last but not least, we're going to invite Vice President of Lee Seung-ju of the Korea Association of International Studies for a special message. Please welcome him with a big round of applause.
네, 부회장님 무대 위로 모시겠습니다.
Vice President Lee Seung-ju, thank you.
네, 방금 소개받은
As has been introduced, my name is Lee Seung-ju. I'm serving as Vice President of Korea Association of International Studies.
글로벌 코리아 포럼
First of all, I would like to say that we are very happy to be part of the 2022 Global Korea Forum. On behalf of the members of the Korea Association of International Studies, I would like to express my gratitude. I would also like to express my appreciation to the NRC and KIEP staff members and those who have helped organize today's forum.
21세기 세계는
In the 21st century, we are faced with climate crisis, natural disasters, pandemic, and cyber threats, and many supranational threats.
초국적 도전에는 또
These supranational challenges require supranational cooperation. However, these cross-national cooperation has not been promoted because of lack of global leadership. And against this backdrop, the Korea Association of International Studies examines the complex diplomatic situations of Korea and the ASEAN region and how we can promote complex diplomacy in this changing landscape. The Indo-Pacific region is full of opportunities and challenges. The U.S., ASEAN countries, as well as France, EU, and other non-regional countries are paying attention to the Indo-Pacific region, and they're announcing their Indo-Pacific strategies. And you can say that the Indo-Pacific region actually has the most vitality in terms of economy. However, the Indo-Pacific region is also faced with many threats and challenges. In particular, I have to say that in the Indo-Pacific region, this has become a key stage for strategic competition between the US and China, and also there is a growing pressure on regional countries to side between the US and China. It is time to utilize middle power diplomacy. In the Indo-Pacific region, there are competitions and cooperations, and I believe that these will offer new opportunities for middle power countries. Otherwise, the era of middle power diplomacy may just end without much success. We should turn these opportunities into real outcomes, and to do so, we need to work together quickly to make sure that the Indo-Pacific region is free and open, and Korea has to play a key role. And in that sense, we need to utilize diplomacy among middle power countries. And in doing so, Korea has capacity and capabilities to take the leadership. However, Korea cannot solve all the problems alone. We need to collaborate with like-minded people, like-minded countries to address some of the key challenges. It is time to reduce competition between the superpowers and join forces among the middle power countries, and we need to pull our wisdom and our insights together. And the Korean Association of International Study will continue to provide intellectual discussion so that we can advance our thoughts in this regard. Once again, I would like to congratulate you on the hosting of the Global Korea Forum. Thank you. Thank you for your special message. That was a message by Vice President Lee Seung-ju of the Korea Association of International Studies. He mentioned that we're living in this world full of crises, but they also offer opportunities. And in order to turn crises into opportunities, middle power countries need to cooperate and they need to join forces together. And he also talked about the role that Korea can play in this regard. Thank you for your message.
자, 이것으로 2022 글로벌 코리아
So that brings us to the end of the opening ceremony of the Global Korea Forum 2022. The forum will last until tomorrow. We will continue to talk about international development cooperation for freedom, peace, and prosperity, challenges for the future, companion for all. I believe that we should have engaging discussions and to share our experiences and wisdom. And I would like to thank you all for being with us throughout the opening ceremony program, and also online viewers, thank you very much for your time. So this event will last until tomorrow, both on and offline. We ask for your continued interest, and I will need to say goodbye here. I am Yeon-myung, the Master of Ceremony for the opening ceremony. Thank you very much for your cooperation.